From the twisted realm of science and the darkest pits of reason comes chilling tales of godlessness. Bear witness to the unfathomable terror that is the Good Atheist.
This show has a little bit of a different kind of vibe to it because this one's going to be a bit of our off the cuff. I know everybody thinks that what we do before is off the cuff, but like, no, you ain't fucking seen nothing yet. We're gonna get jiggy with it.
Yeah, you're gonna see how we really hang.
Yeah, absolutely. The paying members will know that we can totally jam it all the time when we are being paid.
By the way, I am your host, Ryan Harkness.
Oh, and I am Jacob Mad Money Forte. Yeah, all about the money.
Oh, yes.
All right, this is how this podcast is going to work. Basically, it features 3 parts that are going to repeat each week because doing 2 similar radio shows doesn't seem like a good idea to me. I mean, let's switch it up a little bit. You know?
Basically, we're going to put a little bit of effort into it.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so our first element is actually called This Week in Bad Science, and we just cover any news that is just basically terrible for science in general. And this week we have something from the Vatican.
Always from the Vatican.
Well,
always from the Vatican. If it isn't child molesters or Holocaust deniers, it is now bad science.
Well, who knew?
The ultimate crime.
It is the ultimate crime. It's worse than child molestation.
I'm gonna have to disagree with you on that one there, Jake.
Are you sure?
Yeah. I'm gonna say that they're probably more close to even.
Oh, okay, all right. I got you, buddy. All right, well, this week, basically, the Vatican came out, said there was no conflict between evolution and faith. And I wanted to just talk a little bit about that. Obviously, it doesn't go beyond that. They're always saying the same fucking thing. That basically, belief in Jesus and all this other kind of nonsense that they have, it doesn't conflict at all with over millions and billions of years, species evolving from one form to another. So and basically just all the tenets of Christianity are apparently kosher with it. Now, I don't know if you guys know this, but that is just a load of bullshit.
Well, wait a second. Are we talking about this is a cardinal, right? Is he taken from the Pope and he walking forward, or is he just kind of stepping out on his own to say this?
No. They've always said this. I mean, the Vatican has its own observatory. They do their own scientific thing, and Pope John Paul II is the one who came out and said there is no conflict. Mm-hmm. So he just wanted to remind everybody
Pope John Paul.
Yeah, Pope John Paul II. He said he accepted evolution. He said that it worked within Christianity. Mm-hmm. I don't think he worked out the details of how that could work, but he's the Pope, so he just says something and everyone's like, okay.
Well, here's the deal. I don't disagree with the idea of science and religion going hand in hand and this and that. And I've always said I can get religious people who say that I believe in God and I believe that God basically built everybody up with evolution over the course of millions of years or hundreds of thousands of years or whatever else it might be.
And so okay, all right. Well, let's deal with that because that's one of the things that I wanted to talk about. Because you believe, like most people believe, that these things don't conflict at all, right? You could say, well, God has worked His way through evolution, and the product was us. But
I'm saying if somebody wants to believe that, then I'm not gonna. I think it's a lot more reasonable to believe that than to believe that the Earth was created over 7 days. And
yeah, sure. I mean,
the Earth is only 6,000 years old.
Well, some say 6, others say 10. I mean, they don't even know themselves. Okay, well, you can take that moderate view of saying, well, it's better that than they believe in the crazy shit.
I am the moderate.
You are the moderate, but at the same time, I think that there's just such a huge degree of intellectual dishonesty with the entire idea, because I'm going to throw to you the 3 main reasons why evolution as a science does not compute with Christianity. Okay, and these are the real problems. I'm not talking about the the nitty gritty, the minutia. These are the 3 most serious problems that I'm going to present to you.
Okay, because this is the theological bitch slap that evolution gives.
Exactly. This is if you try to read parts of the Bible, even the New Testament only, if you were to just ignore the Old Testament and you wanted to say, well, there's still some accurate things in here and you need faith and I believe in this.
Yeah.
Well, these are the 3 things that basically create this theological schism with science. Okay, the first one is this: that basically you are aware of the concept of original sin, right? Adam and Eve eating that apple. Oh my goodness. Okay, all right, let's cover it.
I've heard of it, and
you are vaguely aware.
I just didn't care enough to ever actually look into finding out what the fuck it's all about. Is that whole that everybody's a sinner thing?
Okay, well here's basically how it works. Adam and Eve ate from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil and were cast out of the Garden of Eden. They carried with them the burden of sin, constantly, like, you are constantly burdened by that sin. Now, the whole purpose of Jesus is to come over and admonish you from that sin by giving you something that you can apparently believe in. Okay. Well, which is him. Problem with that is that obviously evolution conflicts with the Adam and Eve story. We weren't, we descended from apes. We didn't, or a common ancestor to apes. There was no Adam and Eve. And without the story of Adam and Eve, you don't have original sin, and therefore Jesus' sacrifice doesn't mean anything.
So it basically unravels everything in the Catholic...
Yeah, it unravels the tapestry of who Jesus is and why he was around. Evolution does that. There is no Adam and Eve in the theory of evolution. You can't have two progenitors of an entire species. You know what I mean? That's just not how it works.
Okay.
So that's the first major problem.
That's a pretty good one right there.
That's why I'm saying that it's not
because
very
if everything is based off of the whole idea of original sin, because with Catholics it's all about sin and everything like that, right?
Always about sin.
So if all of a sudden that gets blown out of the water, I can see that's pretty cool. I like that one.
Okay, the second thing is basically evolution.
Wait, does it get better?
Well, I don't know if it gets better. I think it's starting with my strongest one.
Wait,
hold on.
Okay.
Well, we'll see. Okay, the number two is that evolution is undirected and it is unplanned. So if you try to kind of like take this concept saying, well, okay, God was there and basically he just made sure that human beings would evolve and evolve the way that they did today. But the problem with that view is that when we look at evolution, there is really no direction. There's no foresight in it. It's constantly just modifications and improvements, and even those improvements may be discarded and a lucky species might survive. The point is, it's not that it's obvious from the way that evolution works that there really is no designer. There's no way to direct what's going to happen. And if it was true that somehow we were designed, the entire purpose behind it would be mind-bogglingly wasteful. I mean, consider the fact that 99% of all species that have ever lived are fucking extinct. I mean, they're not around anymore. Nature took them out.
Yeah.
Now suddenly you're going to say, well, God, what, did you go through a few trial and errors? Did you figure, well, I've got to kill off most of the living life so that human beings can arise? Like, did he bring down a meteorite to kill the dinosaurs? I mean, how exactly is this whole process happening? Because every point in sort of like the tree of life is a branching point where something could have drastically changed and led to an entirely different species.
So the crux of this whole thing is basically saying if God is God, he's pretty hands off.
Well, that's it. That's the problem. If God is God and he does direct evolution, or he was responsible for the beginning of evolution, then it looks as it's completely hands-off. And if it is hands-off, then it's not the God of the Bible. God of the Bible is a personal God. He's there and he's directing, he's guiding, he's doing a lot of shit.
He fucks with people.
He fucks with people. He just fucking brings down the sword of the Lord and like, bam, bitches, bam!
Yeah.
So that's the God of the Bible. It doesn't match with this...
Do we really think that he would take a hands-off approach to evolution, but then just let but still care about butt sex?
Not just that, but sort of like hands-off for evolution for almost 4 billion years, and then just come over and start drowning people and commanding others to sort of like genocide one another, and you're like, you're a bit late to this party, brother. It's been going on for a while.
Where's Dinosaur God when you need him?
Exactly. Well, he got wiped out when the meteorite hit, obviously.
That's blasphemy. Okay, let's go for the third point.
Okay, the third one is just kind of like, it's a fairly... it's a bit of a repeat from some of the other one. It's just basically that, we descend from common ancestors to apes, right? But in the Bible, it's always clearly defined that human beings were designed completely different from other animals. They were put on Earth after the animals, and they don't share any lineage whatsoever. The Bible doesn't hint the fact that we were closely related to chimpanzees.
Yeah.
I mean, for them, they must have been like, I don't know, scary monsters or something like that. I don't know. But the point is that it's obvious from evolution that we are just like any other animal. And that's not what the Bible tells you. The Bible tells you that you have dominion over every living creature. They're there for you to eat and put on pizza, apparently. So that's the third reason why, just theologically at least, the whole thing doesn't stand. But my point, as you can see, is that a person can easily fucking say, oh, well, it was God. I'm like, well, if you think that it was God, it's a very different God than what you're praying to, and there are a number of problems that occur when you accept this theory. But a lot of people don't have to think about that because they don't know shit.
Yeah, a lot of people probably haven't put the amount of time into it that most scientists studying it have.
It's very true. Okay, that was this week in the bad science. Next up, we're going to just talk a little bit about this one feature that I like to call further proof that religion is great for children. It's basically every time there's a story involving some religious nut job doing something crazy to his children because of his religion, it will be mentioned.
Okay, so this is basically how we're going to prove that religious people are bad parents?
Not bad parents, but just kind of like, I've always believed that religion in a way is like child abuse. It's not a serious form of abuse, but I think that, even my dad and his brothers used to talk about, they used to have nightmares, man, when about hell, about the devil coming over and fucking torturing them. And I mean, they really drilled that point home in kids. We don't have that. Even if we have religious parents, they don't scare the fuck out of us with hell. Well, that's what happens to a lot of fucking religious people. They get scared to death. And that kind of can cause a lot of different types of anxieties over something that doesn't exist. So is that a form of abuse? Absolutely it is.
Okay. Well, you spelled it out pretty good, because I was going to say, I seem to remember, what is it, Richard Dawkins who also says that, and he says it with such of a smarmy, I do believe that it is child abuse.
Well, it's just because he's British. That's what annoys you about him.
I can take some British people, but all the British big atheists, they're smarmy motherfuckers.
Maybe they just don't keep it real. You'd like somebody who just keeps it real. I'm not going to fucking pussyfoot.
What, you're going to keep it real?
I'm going to keep it real,
Trust me,
dog.
anybody that, I'm doing air quotes here, keeps it real, I'm just like, no, that's not cool either.
All right, let's talk about this week in child abuse. Basically, it was a man from Maryland. A man stabs teenage son for wearing hat in church. Turns out that the two were having an argument. A 44-year-old man and his 19-year-old son were having an argument over his wearing a baseball cap in church. So the dad then went to his car to get his knife, stabbed his own child in the ass, and then ran off. His name is being held until sort of like a further investigation. But very interesting thing that a debate about wearing a hat turns into a stabbing fest.
Yeah.
I have to wonder, like, was the pastor having a discussion about Abraham? You must sacrifice your son. Hey, I can dig that. Yeah, I'm going to just try to stab him and God will stop me or something.
I'm just wondering about this whole why the ass thing. I guess is it kind of like he felt that stabbing him in the ass was the appropriate thing because the chest would just be overboard? Is that kind of how it worked?
Well, where would you stab someone that you don't necessarily want to kill?
I wouldn't stab them. I would cut them.
Well, maybe that's what they call stabbing. Like, I've never read a news article that said that a person was just cut.
Oh,
why does everybody got to get stabbed? Because stab sells.
Well,
if I say cut, a person would be like, what, you had a paper cut?
Here's the deal. I mean, to me, a stab means that the knife went like into, while a cut is just like, it's like a cut across the skin. And you can cut people up pretty good, and they'll be, it's the favorite choice for pimps when they want to put their bitches in line. I don't know why I know that, but that's...
Are you sure, or is that just something you learned?
No, they like grab their arm and they slice their arm. And that's probably what I would do with my kid if I was a crazy psycho religious person and they were like disobey me. I'd be like, hold out your arm, and I would cut them. And I wouldn't do it in public. I would do it at home.
Well, okay, I guess we know how you're gonna abuse your kids.
This guy here is just ridiculous, though.
Oh, yeah, he's ridiculous. Not the pimp and the father who cuts his own kids. Oh, you're crazy, man.
Oh, I mean, I'm sure this happens on a regular... I'm sure there's all sorts of abuse that happens on a regular basis because of stuff like that. Kid disobeys dad, dad fucks kid up. It is the oldest story in the book. So, I mean, this guy
It's
here...
even in the good book. There are a couple stories like that.
This guy here, I don't know what happened to him. Maybe he just... here's the thing with knives, and this is why... And with guns, and this is why the idea of concealed weapons terrifies me, is that if you have a gun on you and something happens... then all of a sudden, whatever's happening around you, say like a fist fight breaks out, you pull out that gun to try and stop the fist fight, and all of a sudden there's a gun in the situation. And it goes from people, it goes from at worst somebody gets beaten up to, oh my God, someone just got shot. And it's kind of the same thing with a knife. Did this guy here, I mean, we have a friend who was stupid enough to carry a knife around with him, and he ended up pulling it on a firefighter, and it was a bad situation.
I don't even know anybody who would just do that. It's like, hey, hero, I'm going to cut you.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, things escalate. Things escalate all the time, As soon as a knife or a gun comes out, things just escalate.
People keep it real,
Yeah.
right then?
Yeah, people keep
not in the good sense. That's more of that air quote.
What is up with you with keeping it real today?
I want to keep it real.
Stop saying that.
All right,
so tame.
It is kind of tame. Okay, the last part of the segments is my rant.
We gotta work on rolling it through. We're like, next up, bam. We gotta keep it real, Jake.
We do.
I mean, you're just like, well, now next up on this
right,
show, I'm like, I thought we was hanging. I thought we were gonna be more fresh. I thought we were gonna be like kicking it.
This is me fresh.
I'll be like,
can't you just feel my beats? How fresh they is? Okay, let's move on to the rant. The rant is just kind of the segment where I'll talk about something in particular that's bothering me.
Good for you.
And then after that, we'll hear if Ryan wants to do a rant. He can also do his own rant.
Ooh, I can rap
on the
too.
Particular. Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah. It's free flowing.
Okay.
All right. The rant that I'm going to talk about has to do with something released in New Scientist the other day, an article about how conservatives download more porn than their liberal counterparts. Now, I don't want to say that this is particularly surprising. Obviously, it's surprising that anybody would feel the need to do a study about something we already knew, but it's news because apparently a lot of people didn't know that these conservative fucking hillbillies loves their porn, and loves it so much so that they just love it more than guys who have way more access to it and who don't think it's sinful. And why would they do that? Because it is sinful. Like, you wonder why these guys love fucking, all kinds of nasty, dirty, crazy sex, is because for them it is nasty, dirty, and crazy, and that's part of the fucking appeal. I mean, has anybody ever done anything that was forbidden? Isn't it just the sweetest thing when you do it? You're like, this is awesome. I mean, obviously these guys are just so wound up, so pent up, that they're gonna fucking watch porn, and when they do it, they're gonna just feel guilty as all fucking hell. They're gonna go pray to their damn Bible, and they're gonna do it again tomorrow. There's no stopping them. And why? Because you know what? Pornography is older than the Bible. It's older than any fucking written word ever. There were cave drawings of pornography, okay? That's how much we love to watch other people fuck. That's like the first art. Porn. I swear to God, if you went anywhere, the first thing you would find is an abundance of naked drawings by people. I mean, the only reason you don't now is because everybody just burns them or destroys them. They figure, well, we can't have that around. But the whole thing is, I mean, it only started in the Victorian era where people decided, we need to clamp down on all this nakedness. I mean, before it was like, live or let live. You want some naked photos? Here's some naked photos. Go to the woods and jerk off. But then all of a sudden, everybody had to wear those fucking white powdery wigs and all that fucking crazy layers of clothes, and you couldn't show any fucking skin. So what happened to all the naked drawings? Destroyed. I'm like, oh my God, how many times have so many great things been destroyed by just a bunch of fucking prudes? And back I am to prudes, because they're the secret perverts. They're the fucking hypocrite bastards who download that shit and who watch it all the fucking time. Anyways, that's my rant about fucking conservatives fucking watching porn. I'm like, get over it. Stop fucking try to blame the problems of society on lewdness or whatever, the need to look at naked people and just assume that it's, it's all those crazy Californians that are doing it. No, it's people in Utah. Of course you watch porn. I mean, you got fucking magic underwear, for God's sakes. You haven't seen skin since fucking 2003. Jesus.
I can understand how people could avoid looking at porn back when, back about 15 years ago when it took a little bit of effort to find. But now I just don't understand. I don't think I go a day without staring at
somebody naked.
Yeah, staring at genitalia for at least like 5 or 6 minutes, you know? And it's not even anything it's not even anything I try to do or anything. It just kind of happens that, you know, throughout the course of the day, somebody will present me with something that turns out to be pornography.
Actually, it's as simple for me as whenever I go into Google and I type in search and I turn off the safety, I will see boobies.
Oh, you will see much worse than that. All sorts of things.
When you turn that safety off.
So I just don't understand how people can get by nowadays without seeing pornography. And to that degree, it kind of scares me from a kid's point of view, because I'm like, man, parents really do need to lock that internet down, because it is a Pandora's box of pornography, and it's a Pandora's box because it has been opened, and you just got to try and keep your kid from finding enough that he can become like a hardcore serial masturbator too. You got to keep it like, and I'm
well,
not
more so because you know what,
no, yeah,
I don't know about you, but I was.
Hey, no, I'm not talking. When I talk about being a serial masturbator, I'm not talking about like once or twice a day. Which, you know, I'm talking about people who masturbate all the time. Those kids that masturbated under their desks, the one that masturbated in the stall between classes. These kids, and I don't know whether or not, you know...
I don't think I ever knew any of those kids.
Yeah, you did. Tim McLean's older brother, Patrick, used to masturbate all the time. All the time.
What, in school?
Yes.
Get the fuck out of here.
I back in grade 6, when they took us to high school to hang out with everybody else, I was hooked up with him. He was my guide, because everybody got a guide, and I got put with him, and everybody was telling me, oh, watch out for Pat, he's going to take you to the bathroom with him and show you how to jerk off in there because he got caught or something like that. So yeah, he's a fiendish masturbator. So I mean, but that's beside the point. That's on a tangent.
Fiend.
Because my main thing is, I'm just wondering, with religious people, it's like, do they? I mean, there's got to be. I mean, obviously, there's non-hypocritical ones. So, so are these people not masturbating? Are these people not masturbating?
So you want to know? You want to find out
who's not masturbating?
Who's not masturbating?
I mean, here's the
Everybody
thing.
is. Everyone is.
My first girlfriend didn't masturbate. She didn't. And I thought she was a fucking liar, but she did not.
Wow.
I know. So, I mean, there's a whole bunch of people that I think just don't.
How was that sex?
Huh? It was actually pretty good.
Oh, okay.
But then again, it was like the first, so it's like, you know, that's when it blows your mind.
It's true.
Yep.
It's true. It does blow your mind.
So, I mean, I don't know. I can't really compare. It's like, you know, how was the first moving image you ever saw? How was the first roller coaster?
The first moving picture.
Yeah, exactly.
The moving picture.
It was like, you know what? That Blu-ray was pretty sweet. It's like that. It's new technology, so I can't really judge it against all the others because you always remember your first. But yeah, she didn't masturbate, and I got to figure there's got to be a bunch of religious people not masturbating, but I got to figure, like, how low is that percentage? It's got to be like, it's got to be less than 1%.
I know,
way less than 1%.
You're talking about people who chronically do it. Okay,
No,
because
no,
even
no,
a
because
girl
that
who
was-
says that
that
she
was-
doesn't masturbate,
that was a side
may do it
thing.
once. May do it once. Come on, give me a break. A person who says, "I've never jerked off," you've never sort of like, you know, moved a certain way in your own bed, and that kind of shit. Give me a fucking break. Scratched yourself a
So,
little long. I'm like, everybody fucking does a bit of it all the fucking time. They just don't realize it.
Are you saying that everybody masturbates?
I am saying that at one point in your life, you will masturbate. You can't fucking prevent it from happening. It's just going to happen. So you might as well make sure that you have good porn when you do it. I mean, here's what's funny, and I actually agree. A couple people on the forum were saying that the reason that you know, the conservatives were actually buying more porn is because they're too stupid to find it for free. And you know what? If you're not connected, if you're keeping that shit secret, you do have to buy it. So I think that the porn industry, is really propped up by conservative people. Remember when we asked who is keeping the porn industry alive because I get all my porn for free? Well, it's the fucking conservative people who are afraid to death to ask anybody about where to find some free porn.
Yeah, I can see that.
So I guess if you are a porn director, that's your market, bro. Find a way to get it to that really religious guy at work who's just so pent up, just so worried about sin that he wants your next picture, buddy. He wants it. and he's going to pay premium price.
Very nice.
Okay, and with that, that is the end of our show. So join us again next week for another episode.
We promise it'll be more smooth and we'll keep it real.
We will keep it real. But, again, it's an project that's evolving.
I like that. That's very nice.
It's evolving.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
it's completely compatible with Christianity.
So in a million years, it might be good.